Hello everyone, Sam here. Now I wanted to do a video on the channel talking about how we go from 0 to 100 when we're triggered. Okay, now that can be a new theme, a new fear, a new memory or an old memory or a real event from the past, a new thought, anything that can latch, an image, someone's name, a sensation, all the things you can just suddenly get stuck on. Now, when I look back at my journey, those moments were 0 to 100, right? So, I might be coasting, or I might be not as triggered as usual, because I spent most of my life triggered 24/7. But let's say a new trigger hit me. Now, in that moment, it felt like I was back to square one. I felt like even worse. I felt like there was no hope. I thought I was going to be stuck forever. And it could be anything. I'll give you an example of a new theme that latched many times along my journey. I don't really speak about it much because it didn't really, it wasn't as sticky as other themes. I didn't really say stuck as much. With themes such as POCD, harm OCD, real event, false memory, they took a little while to break down. I was stuck with them for ages with the chronic guilt, chronic shame ramped up. But along my journey, I have OCD, right? So other themes are going to latch, other fears, I had health OCD quite bad. Now, obviously it wasn't my main theme, but it was there. Now, I talk about my experience with health OCD. Now, how did that latch? I remember many times going to doctors, okay, and this was all quite subtle because I was so consumed in the guilt, I'd probably just sort of dismiss this as sort of genuine health concerns. But looking back now, there was definitely OCD playing a part, and a health OCD, and fear of cancer, fear of getting ill, fear of dying, having a sort of a disease where you sort of deteriorate through time, and then all relating to what's the point of carrying on, what's the point of living now, what's the point of trying to achieve my goals, just that constant what's the point, nothing else matters. That's something that was a big thing for me. Now, health OCD. Now, some of the stuff I would do, I remember getting scan after scan at the doctors, sitting in doctors' waiting rooms, waiting for another scan. And I never quite got certainty. So let's say I've gone up in April now, and everything's all clear. Maybe just like a pain, maybe like a muscle injury, I might have got from exercise and whatever, right? And the scan would be all clear. You're fine. Just rest up and it'd be better, right? And then that wouldn't satisfy it because it'd be, or during the scan, what position was your arm in? Was your head in the right place? Was your foot raised? Question absolutely everything, right? You sure they thought that? Did you explain that right? Did you explain your symptoms to the nth degree to make sure they 100% understood it? Going over and over again what they said. I remember at some points I took a notepad or just my notes in my phone, and just writing down every word they said, and also asking them to write it down so I didn't forget, so I could come at the doctors going, yep, I'm 100% fine, chasing that certainty that we go after. But that was so subtle because I thought, I thought it was a genuine health concern. And there are health concerns. This is the thing with health OCD. There are genuine health concerns. If you've got OCD, it doesn't mean you can never get ill, never get a disease, never get cancer, never die. Of course, that's a complete load of rubbish because it can happen to anyone. But when we're suffering with health OCD, we've got to be very careful because it's such a fine line. Because before we know it, we'll be at the doctors every 2 minutes. We'll be Googling symptoms every 2 minutes. We'll be watching how we're feeling, watching any sort of symptom that we're having, watching it like a hawk, sort of that internal thermometer raised, constantly measuring it and going, oh my God, does that ache? Am I a bit in pain here? Have I got a headache here? Can I remember that? Testing memory. I did that a lot, testing memory over and over again. Oh shit, I can't remember what they said. Does that mean I've got early onset dementia? I used to go down that path. Constantly sort of checking parts of my body, like for lumps and things like that. Now, of course, that's a good thing in a healthy way if you can keep that healthy. But with OCD, it's such a fine line, and that became compulsive with me. Every day, sort of more than every day, sort of every like every hour or so. Just checking this. Is that lump got bigger or is now I saw a lump this morning. I felt like there was nothing there. Just constantly, just making sure there was nothing there, and that was quite a tiring, exhausting battle. Looking back now, that took up a lot of my time. Now, if you watch my videos or in the coaching calls or see me in the WhatsApp groups, I didn't really talk about that much, but that did affect me quite a bit. Yeah, like I said, I remember with the scans, or no, that scan isn't right because my foot was in the wrong position. You know, the scanner wasn't working. There was the scanner looked low on battery. You know, all the things like that, or the scanner was in the right position, or it was flashing, meaning that it didn't quite catch that. You know, OCD was getting on there, and then I'd go book another doctor's appointment. Go, no, I need to go back. I feel like that scan wasn't accurate. I feel like it wasn't true. So I had that a lot. What other new themes sort of latched and that sort of took me off my feet, completely overwhelmed me? And that was very triggering because, you know, I felt like I couldn't cope. I felt like I was going to be stuck forever because I felt like I couldn't get over this new theme. So I'm going to take a sip and make a cup of tea. I'm a bit of a loud slurper, so I'm going to not try and do that on a video because that's not very nice at all. Here we are, silent. My fiance looks around, you know, I'm sipping away at my cup of tea, and all of a sudden I do a loud slurp, and she's like, bloody hell, Sam, that's disgusting. I don't find anything wrong with it, but obviously it's not nice if you're slurping really loud, but sometimes you know, I'm enjoying my cup of tea, sometimes I slurp. Here we are, silence. Other themes that latched. Sensory motor OCD, that took me by surprise. Now that really latched because when I first came on the journey, I didn't really know what it was, right? It was all quite a new word to me. I was like, what the hell does that mean? But then I started hearing about other people's stories, like Nick, for example. And then all of a sudden, my blinking, I'm like, oh fuck, it clatched my blinking, and my saliva, my breathing. What so I can never not notice my breathing or that manual breathing sensation. Or like a word getting stuck in your head over and over and over and over again, where you feel like you can't get out of your head. So I had that a lot. Existential, remember that terrifying me. But these things never really latched for long. Now it's because I was very quite far into the journey. You know, I give advice on how someone else can overcome that. So I would apply that to myself. So this is, you know, a year ago or a couple of years ago, 18 months ago, where new themes were trying to latch, and I just use the same principles, same tools, you know, put myself out of the comfort zone, set myself a few exposures, because I knew that would help me overcome that particular fear. What other themes latched? There's a lot of rejection themes. Not just your classic taboo ones, but you know, being rejected by mates or just offending someone, or you say something mildly offensive, and then you're checking, did I offend you? Blah blah blah. So that all links into the fear of rejection, or your life being over because someone doesn't like you, or losing your job and things like that. So yeah, I never really had it around sort of looks, as you can probably tell. Of course, I don't want to look. I wouldn't dress like scruffily, but if I did, like, it wouldn't really bother me. I don't really care about that. I wouldn't aim to be, you know, I wouldn't aim to look a state sort of thing. But it doesn't bother me at all around looks or sort of what shape I'm in. You know, I want to be in good shape for health reasons. Hence why I exercise. Hence why I run. Hence why I cycle, hence why I walk the dog and things like that, because I want to exercise, right? I want to be in good shape. I want to, you know, have a healthy lifestyle. But if I suddenly woke up with a massive beer belly tomorrow morning, I'm not going to be, you know, going down there, oh my God, this is terrible, this is the worst thing in the world, because I'd accept that. I'm sure, you know, even if I had a beer belly, I'm not talking about health reasons, but, you know, I'm sure I'd still be having a good time, sort of thing. But yeah, that's going off on a big tangent there. But what I'm saying is the importance and the irrational beliefs around, you know, oh my God, I must not put on weight. You know, I have scales, and I go on the scales, but I probably once a month, you know, I even forget to do that sometimes because I'm not obsessed with my weight at all. I know roughly if I'm in good shape, you know, how I'm running, you know, how the running's feeling, if I'm running well, the times and stuff like that. But none of that's compulsive. I do all that for enjoyment. It did become compulsive at times. I used to be on the scales quite a lot, you know, checking if I lost a kilogram here or there. For fuck's sake, I didn't. And then, you know, checking sort of twice, sort of 3 times a week, or a bit more than that, or, you know, monitoring my times. If I slightly ran a bit slower, I'll be like, for God's sake, what have I done? And then looking at my diet and things like that. So of course I look at my diet, healthily concerned, healthily eating, yes, but I still want to enjoy myself as well. So I treat myself to a pint of beer, glass of wine, steak and chips, pizza, all the fish and chips, a curry, all the things I enjoy, because I got that balance. It's all a balancing act, and it's all in moderation as well. So yeah, this is how sort of other things have lapsed. I've gone off on a massive tangent, but I love doing this. And just also perspective shifts. Now you notice them all along life experiences. You don't just sit down and try and nail down a perspective shift. You can go, right, let's change our perspective, and then just wait for something to happen. That's not how it works, right? You experience all parts of life. And for example, quite recently, I remember I was running late to work. I was thinking, fuck's sake, I'm going to be late. And then you look around, seeing everyone else in the rat race, sprinting around town and like running around with suitcases off and like, beep, 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 get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way. People sprinting past you with, briefcases and like sort of like barging you out of the way sort of thing. And I was rushing for work because I was going to be late. And then as I was walking quite quickly to work, right, a homeless man, I saw him in the corner of my eye and I just looked at him and I thought, bloody hell, that was just an instant perspective shift. I thought, what's like, you're late for work, right? In the grand scheme of things, that is absolutely nothing. Yes, your boss might like it. Yes, if things escalate, you might lose your job if you continue to be late. But you look at that guy there and you're thinking, fuck, like, he'd do anything to swap positions with me. And straight away, it's like, bloody hell. And then you see things in a different light. You're going, okay, what is so important? And that's not saying, yes, I'm going to be late every day because I don't care. I'm not saying that at all. But straight away, you see something in a different light. You see it more rationally, don't you? It brings down the demand that, oh my God, if it's late, it's the worst thing in the world. I can't possibly stand that if I'm late to work, if I lose my job, blah, blah, blah. And you see a poor homeless guy sat in the freezing cold, asking for any bit of change. And you're thinking, fucking hell. Okay, it's very, very sad. And also, I think of that in depth as well. I see it a lot more deeply than how other people see it. I tend to find it, I mean, if I speak to people without OCD, sort of about homeless people, they just sort of don't really say much. And I know that's not everyone, but for example, some of the people I speak to just sort of brush it off. But I see it in a very in-depth way. And I'm thinking, how's this guy or how's this lady got into that situation? It's all very sad, isn't it? Because it's not just, you don't just wake up and go, right, I'm going to be homeless. There's usually a build up to these things. Maybe there's drug abuse, maybe abuse when they were younger, kicked out of their house. Maybe their parents died, maybe all their family died, left them. Something happened financially. All these things would have built up to it. Alcohol abuse, drug abuse. Very unlucky injuries, or might have lost a limb or an illness. All these things can lead to these things. It's not just black and white, where this guy's homeless, that means that's his fault, blah blah. All these things that people say, but I look at it into a much more depth because I find things like that very interesting, and that's because I've suffered of OCD, right? I've got the perspectives are very deep. The philosophers, the life philosophers. I look into stuff a lot more intensely, and there's thinking behind it. It's not just sort of surface level thinking. But yeah, that's just an example. You also see that all the sort of trivial things that people can get pissed off about, and of course they can be big things in that person's life. I'm not denying that. But then when you look at the bigger picture, you take a step back, you observe and go, like, what is that person worried about, or what am I worrying about? Talking about along my journey a lot, I had that a lot. Worrying about those smallest of things, trivial things, whether I've slightly mildly offended someone. For example, football, like your football team might lose. Yes, that's frustrating because I love the emotional side of football, the healthy emotion. But then as soon as you come out, you're thinking, bloody hell, like you just see other things in life and go, Christ, that is all it is. You've lost a football match, right? And you don't go to that 0 to 100 catastrophic, awfulizing, worst thing in the world. I can't stand this, I can't stand that kind of thinking, because that's what gets us into trouble. But yeah, I want to keep this video about 15 minutes. I don't want to go on too long, but I hope I made some very key points there. Stuff that you can take away and probably relate to along your journey. If you have liked this video, please leave a like. If you can leave comments for me, any suggestions you'd like me to make. Because I got loads listed for myself, but I like hearing from you. I like the interactive side. So any things you want me to elaborate on, any OCD fear, themes you want me to speak about, then leave a comment and I'd happily do a video. If you're interested in our one-to-one services, our webinars, I am speaking on a webinar on the 12th of December. POCD recovery, you can hear all about my story in depth. all the obstacles I faced, applying unconditional acceptance. That's 12th of December, 8:30 p.m. UK time. If you're interested, please email phil@ocdrecovery.com, and then we can book you up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, then please do so. Anyway, you take care, and I'll speak again. Bye-bye.